Welcome to Life Confessions TV. Try to relax and feel the story.
For 5 years of my marriage, I believed we were struggling. That's what my husband told me, at least. Every month we sat at the same kitchen table in our small townhouse outside Phoenix, staring at spreadsheets and bills. And every month the conversation ended the same way. "We just need to be careful," he would say. Careful meant no vacations. Careful meant I stopped buying new clothes. Careful meant I picked up extra shifts at the marketing firm where I worked. Sometimes I worked late nights freelancing too. I believed we were building a future together. A future where one day we could finally buy a house with a backyard. A future where money wouldn't feel like a constant weight on our shoulders. My husband handled most of the finances. He said it was easier that way because he worked in finance and understood how the system worked. I trusted him. I thought it made sense. Whenever I asked about our savings, he would sigh and rub his temples. "You know, the market has been rough. My bonus this year was tiny." Tiny. That word stuck with me because it meant something different to each of us. To me, tiny meant maybe $5,000 or $10,000. Still a lot of money, but not life-changing. To him, apparently, tiny meant something very different. But I didn't know that yet. Instead, I did what I always did. I tightened my budget. I stopped ordering takeout. I sold some old jewelry online. I even postponed a medical procedure I needed because I didn't want to add another bill to our credit card. And every time I made a sacrifice, he praised me. "You're amazing with money," he'd say. "You're the reason we're going to make it." At the time, those words felt like love. Now I realize they were just manipulation wrapped in compliments. The first crack in the illusion happened on a random Tuesday afternoon. I had come home early from work because a client meeting got canceled. The house was quiet. My husband's laptop sat open on the dining table. He had rushed out earlier that morning for a meeting and must have forgotten to close it. Normally I wouldn't touch it, but a notification popped up on the screen. A banking alert. At first I thought it might be something important, maybe fraud or a payment issue, so I stepped closer to look. That's when I saw the number. $300,000. At first my brain didn't even process it. It was displayed next to the words "deposit confirmed." I blinked. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe it was something related to the company he worked for. But the account name was clearly his. Not ours. His. My stomach tightened. I opened the notification. And that was the moment everything I believed about my marriage started to unravel. Because the deposit wasn't new. It had happened 8 months earlier. 8 months. For 8 months, he had been sitting across from me at that kitchen table, telling me we were barely getting by. For 8 months, I had been working overtime, while skipping doctor appointments and counting grocery dollars. All while he had $300,000 sitting in a private account. A secret account. My hands were shaking as I clicked through the banking history. There were transfers. Large ones. But not to our shared account. Instead, the money was being moved somewhere else. Another name kept appearing in the transfer notes. His brother. The two of them had been quietly moving tens of thousands of dollars at a time. I leaned back in the chair, trying to breathe. Maybe there was an explanation. Maybe it was a temporary investment or something complicated I didn't understand. Then I opened his email. And that's when the second betrayal hit me. Because the first message I saw wasn't about money.
It was about me.
The subject line read, "Once the house deal goes through." I clicked it. Inside was a conversation between my husband and his brother. They were discussing buying an investment property together. But what made my chest tighten wasn't the plan. It was the sentence my husband had written near the end. "Don't worry about her. She thinks we're broke. As long as she keeps covering half the bills, we'll be fine." For a moment, I couldn't move. Then I saw another message below it. This one from a different email thread. A woman's name I didn't recognize. Her message was short. "Are you still coming tonight?" His reply was even shorter. "Of course. She's working late." That was the moment the illusion shattered completely. Because suddenly every late meeting he had, every business dinner, every weekend conference, they all started to make sense. I closed the laptop slowly. 5 years of marriage. 5 years of trust. And apparently I had been nothing more than the person paying half his bills while he built a secret life. I wish I could say I cried, but the truth is something inside me went very quiet instead. Not sad, not angry, just clear. Because in that moment I realized something important. My husband thought he was the only one capable of planning ahead. He thought I was just the hardworking wife who believed whatever he told her. But he forgot one thing. I worked in marketing strategy. Planning was literally my job. And if he wanted to play games with money and lies, then he had just invited the wrong person into that game. So instead of confronting him that night, I started collecting evidence. And the more I uncovered, the worse his betrayal became. The next few weeks felt surreal. Every morning I woke up next to the man who had been lying to me for almost a year, and every morning I acted like nothing had changed. I still made coffee, still asked about his meetings, still listened while he complained about how tight things were financially. But inside, I was documenting everything. Every email, every transfer, every message. I quietly copied files from his laptop and saved them on a private drive. Then I scheduled a meeting with a lawyer. Not just any lawyer, a divorce attorney who specialized in financial fraud. The consultation lasted 2 hours. When I finished explaining everything, the attorney leaned back in his chair and said something that surprised me. "You're in a stronger position than you think." Apparently, hiding assets during a marriage, especially when lying about finances, was a serious problem in divorce court, especially when the paper trail was this obvious. But the lawyer also told me something else. If you confront him now, he'll move the money. That meant one thing. I had to wait, so I kept pretending. For almost 3 months. 3 months of dinners together. 3 months of small talk. 3 months of listening to him complain about bills while his hidden account quietly collected interest. Meanwhile, I learned more about the investment property he was planning to buy. It was a small apartment building outside Scottsdale. 6 units. The deal was nearly finalized. He and his brother planned to close on it within weeks. But there was something interesting about the purchase. Because technically, part of that money had been earned during our marriage, which meant legally, it wasn't entirely his. The lawyer confirmed it. That bonus he received, half of it could be considered marital property, meaning I had a claim. But I didn't want half of his secret account. I wanted something better. So I waited. Then one night, everything finally came to the surface. We were sitting at the same kitchen table again, bills spread out between us. My husband looked tired, but not in the way someone struggling with money would look. More like someone rehearsing a speech. Then he cleared his throat. "I think we need to talk." I folded my hands calmly. "About what?" He took a deep breath. "I don't think this marriage is working anymore." The words came out carefully, like he had practiced them. "I've been feeling disconnected for a long time," he continued. "And I think it might be best if we go our separate ways." Separate ways. After 5 years. After lying about money. After using me to help cover his expenses while he built a secret investment plan. But I simply nodded. "If that's what you want." He looked almost relieved. "I think it's better for both of us." Then he added something that nearly made me laugh. "We can split things fairly." Fairly. The man hiding $300,000 wanted to talk about fairness. But I kept my voice calm. "Of course," I said. Then I reached into my bag and pulled out a folder. His smile faded. "What's that?" I placed the folder on the table and slid it toward him. Inside were printed documents, bank transfers, email conversations, screenshots, all organized neatly. His face slowly drained of color as he flipped through them. "You went through my computer?" he whispered. "No," I replied. "You left it open." He stopped on the page showing the $300,000 deposit. Then he turned to the emails with his brother. Then the message about the investment property. Silence filled the kitchen. Finally, he looked up. "You don't understand," he said quickly. "It's complicated." I almost admired the confidence it took to say that. But I wasn't finished. "There's more in the folder," I said. He turned another page. This one contained a letter from my attorney. A very official letter. His hands started shaking. What is this? I leaned back in my chair. That, I said calmly, is the beginning of the divorce process. His breathing became uneven. You can't do this. Oh, I replied quietly. I absolutely can. Then I pointed to one specific page, the one highlighting marital assets, including the bonus and the planned property purchase. You see, I continued, since that money was earned while we were married, part of it belongs to me. He stared at me in disbelief. But don't worry, I added. I'm not asking for half. His eyebrows lifted slightly. For a second, he actually looked hopeful, which is when I said the sentence that changed everything. I already bought the building. His face went completely blank. What? The apartment building you and your brother were planning to buy. I tapped the final document in the folder. The purchase agreement.
Signed.
Finalized.
Mine.
His mouth opened, but no words came out. You see, I continued calmly, when you and your brother were still negotiating the price, I made a better offer. I let the silence hang there. You used my money to plan your investment, I said softly. So, I decided to make my own. He looked like the ground had disappeared under him. And in a way, it had. The divorce took 6 months. During that time, my husband tried everything. Apologies, excuses, even anger. But the evidence was too clear. The hidden account, the secret investment plan, the financial lies. In the end, the court didn't look kindly on any of it. But the real irony? The apartment building he had spent months planning to buy now belonged to me. And thanks to the rental income, it was already paying for itself. The last time I saw him was outside the courthouse. He looked at me like he didn't recognize the person standing in front of him. Maybe he didn't, because the woman he married would have believed his lies. The woman standing there now didn't. As he walked away, I realized something strange. I didn't feel revenge. I felt relief. Because the truth is, when someone betrays you, they think they're taking something from you. Your trust, your time, your love. But sometimes their betrayal gives you something unexpected.
Clarity.
And once you see the truth clearly, you stop being the victim in their story. You become the author of your own. And trust me, that ending is always better. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe to Life Confessions TV for more real-life stories about betrayal, revenge, and unexpected justice. And tell me in the comments, what would you have done if you discovered your partner was secretly hiding $300,000 from you?